Okay, we're going to be doing a book review of this book right here, Cancer, The Cancer Resolution by Mark Lintern. This is a great book. This is one of the best books ever written about in the history of cancer. I've read tons of books about cancer. This is like a masterpiece. This guy, Mark Lintern, he was diagnosed with cancer himself 10 years ago, and his lady friend also, and she died. You know, he's very distraught about his lady friend dying. He's very worried about himself having cancer. And what's good about it is he has nothing to do with medicine or science. He was a graphic designer, but a very intelligent guy, and he decided he needs to learn about cancer. So he just devoted the last, 8 years of his life to understanding cancer, and he read everything, and he's real bright, and he comes at it without being, preconceived notions or obligations. In the conventional medical world, you can't criticize your own field that much, or you'll get yourself in trouble. So, like if you're a cancer surgeon, you got to say cancer surgery is good. Rad-onc, you got to praise rad-onc. If you're a chemo doc, you got to say chemo's good. Whereas he doesn't care. He just studies it and comes up with whatever the research says and whatever he can intuit. So here, I'll just, get started with the book. A couple things. He starts out by talking about the dominant cancer theory of our time is called the somatic mutation theory. And it has been accepted for a long time. And everybody's accepted, but the research does not support it. And that's a big deal, because if you're running based on research that's wrong, your whole theory is wrong, you're going to have a hard time getting successful treatments, because the key to successful treatment is to understand what's going on and avoid those things that cause the disease or cause the tumor to grow. Okay, so the SMT means somatic mutation theory. It's also called the DNA theory, the DNA mutation theory of cancer. And all the med school textbooks go by this, all the residency textbooks go by this, and it's the basis of clinical practice, but it's obviously wrong. The data does not support it. This is well known by anybody who studied it. It's been known for a while. And he says, and I put the page numbers in here from the book. This is page 5 of the preface, so it's like a letter V. He said, despite billions of dollars spent on cancer research, they cannot provide significant data to support the SMT. Some cancers don't have any mutations. You can have cancer with 0 mutations. How could mutation be the cause of cancer? And then he says 80% of cancer research papers on the SMT, somatic mutation theory, they cannot be replicated. That means they're bogus, okay? They're bogus, as in, the corporations pay for papers to make their drugs look good or whatever they're studying look good. And the papers cannot be replicated. That's a disaster. That's what I meant by saying that the only thing that can make cancer research good is Christian ethics. People laugh at Christianity and religion and say, oh, why do you say religion has to be involved in medicine or science? And I'm telling you, because I know it better than other people do. It has to be. Because all I see all day long when I look at medical textbooks and journals is lying and lying and more lying. These big corporations, they have billions of dollars. They buy the journal, they buy the scientists, and they just publish stuff to support whatever their product is. And the vast majority of medical literature, done after 1980, and the more recent, the worse it gets, is just advertising. It's fake. It's science with the letter S with a dollar sign through it. It's bogus. Okay, and it will never be good. That's why people say, oh, the Catholic Church wasn't religious. They gave Galileo a hard time. I laugh at that. Galileo was a devout Catholic. He was friends with the Pope. The Pope was pissed off because he's mocking the Pope. And yes, the Pope overreacted, and that was wrong. But the Catholic Church was the foundation of science for like over 600 years. 35 craters on the moon named after Jesuit priests. The whole university system came out of the Catholic Church only in Europe, okay? It supports real science because it says that truth is one, it is unity, wherever it comes from. That's why it was the Catholic monks who kept the books alive from ancient Rome and Greece. They respected the pagans. Catholicism and paganism coexisted for 500 years, like from, the time of the death of Christ, about 33 AD until, 530 and later AD. They still were working together, living together, the pagans and the Catholics. And that's why Catholicism can be syncretic. It can take things from other cultures and learn from them, which is good. Okay, atheistic Darwinism just says, do what my money says. He who pays the piper calls the tune. Okay, so some cancers are thought to be related to bacterial infection, like Helicobacter pylori and gastric cancer. Some cancers are thought to be related to a viral infection, like HPV, human papillomavirus, and cervical cancer, or HPV, HCV, and liver cancer, hepatitis B virus, hepatitis C virus, okay? Mark Lintern's website is called cellsuppression.com. So you can go to that real easy, just cellsuppression.com. That's his website. You'll see some of his slides. The metabolic theory of cancer has been around. By the way, this is a thick book. Let me see how many pages it is. It's something like about 500 pages, including the references. It's 580 pages, but the text itself takes you to about page 530, something like that. I just read it walking on a treadmill. I'm just sitting there walking on a treadmill. I read it pretty fast. Let's see, because I read tons of stuff about cancer before. Okay, it says the metabolic theory of cancer has been around since the 1920s, like Otto Warburg, and there is abundant evidence to support it. It is, by all accounts, the most accurate mainstream cancer theory out there. Okay, his theory is going to be superimposed on top of. He has his own theory of cancer, and he might be right. It's going to be superimposed on top of the metabolic theory of cancer. Mainstream medicine measures treatment success by 5-year survival. Is the patient still breathing at 5 years? Yeah, they don't talk about long-term cure. And they do other things to make their data look better than it really is. They'll not include, let's say, lung cancer, because lung cancer tends to have poor outcomes. They'll not include the outcomes for black people. Black people tend to have worse death rates, die more quickly than do other ethnic groups with cancer. I think it's because they have, blacks tend to eat way too much processed food, and they tend to drink tap water. So that makes things worse. Okay, let's see. The Cancer Genome Atlas Project, TGCA, you get it, like thymine, cytosine, guanosine, adenine, provides major evidence that the SMT is wrong. Yeah, they were hoping it would support them, the Cancer Genome Atlas Project, and the Human Genome Project. It does not support the somatic mutation theory of DNA theory. Okay, now, here's a quote by Michael Crichton. First of all, actually, I think there's 2 quotes here. One second. First one's by John Kay. The accomplished scientist is an original, an extremist, disrupting established patterns of thought. Good science involves perpetual open debate in which every objection is aired and dissents are sharpened and clarified, not smoothed over. Yeah, look at a lot of people who used to be pissed off at McDougal because he would tell the truth. And when you tell the truth, you're going to ruffle feathers, okay? Big money is making a lot of money off the current paradigm. It doesn't want to change in anything. It just wants to keep on raking in the money. Okay, Michael Crichton, the famous author, the guy who wrote Jurassic Park, he said, historically, the claim of consensus has been the first refuge of scoundrels. It is a way to avoid debate by claiming that the matter is already settled. Consensus is the business of politics. Science, on the contrary, requires only one investigator who happens to be right, which means that he or she has results that are verifiable by reference to the real world. Consensus is invoked only in situations where the science is not solid enough. The greatest scientists in history are great precisely because they broke with the consensus. There is no such thing as consensus in science. If it's a consensus, it isn't science. If it's science, it isn't consensus, period. So basically, when you've got data, you can say, this is what the data shows, okay? But, he's being a little bit over the top to make a dramatic statement. In real life, there's a lot of stuff that nobody knows for sure. And you have to say, well, the weight of the evidence that we can see that is objectively true and verifiable indicates this, okay? All right, but anyways, okay, so that's it for part 1, but I'm telling you, if you're serious about cancer, this is a masterpiece. It's a great book.